In the glittering world of daytime television, where opinions are currency and controversy is king, few personalities have risen as meteorically as Sunny Hostin. The View's sharp-tongued legal analyst turned co-host has built an empire on her unapologetic candor and supposed moral high ground, becoming a household name synonymous with progressive values and social justice advocacy. Yet beneath this carefully curated public persona lies a web of intrigue so complex it could rival any Hollywood thriller, one that now threatens to dismantle everything she's worked for. The whispers began quietly at first, mere murmurs in New York's elite circles about Dr. Emmanuel Hostin, Sunny's husband and celebrated orthopedic surgeon. But what started as subtle gossip has exploded into one of the most explosive scandals in recent memory, potentially eclipsing even the most dramatic plot twists of The View itself. At the center of this maelstrom stands not just allegations of insurance fraud, but a RICO case so massive it makes traditional organized crime prosecutions look like petty misdemeanors. As the details emerged, they painted a picture that seemed almost too sensational to be true. A respected medical professional allegedly orchestrating a sophisticated scheme involving unnecessary surgeries and fraudulent billing practices worth hundreds of millions. The very man who had stood beside Sunny through her rise to fame now finds himself at the heart of what authorities are calling one of the largest insurance fraud cases in New York's history. A case so severe it invokes racketeering charges typically reserved for mafia dons and drug cartel leaders. But the story takes an even more dramatic turn when rumors surface of Emmanuel's alleged cooperation with federal authorities. Whispers from insider sources suggest he's been negotiating behind closed doors with the FBI, potentially implicating not just his associates, but also indirectly his own wife. This development transforms what was already a career-threatening scandal into something far more personal and devastating, a Shakespearean tragedy playing out in real time across America's living rooms. For viewers who've watched Sunny champion causes of accountability and transparency, the irony is almost too perfect. The woman who built her brand on holding others accountable now faces allegations that cut to the core of her personal and professional life. As the walls close in around her, the question emerges: is this merely a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time? Or does this unfolding drama reveal deeper truths about the media personality we thought we knew? At the heart of this explosive case lies a sophisticated scheme that reads like a masterclass in modern white-collar crime. According to court documents and investigative reports, Dr. Emmanuel Hostin allegedly orchestrated a network of fraudulent medical practices that exploited New York's no-fault insurance system with surgical precision. The allegations paint a picture of calculated deception spanning years, involving dozens of patients and generating hundreds of millions in illicit profits. The mechanics of the alleged fraud were both ingenious and disturbingly simple. Sources familiar with the investigation claim that Hostin's operation targeted unsuspecting victims of minor car accidents, taxi drivers, Uber operators, and other transportation workers whose insurance policies fell under the state's no-fault provisions. These individuals, often immigrants with limited English proficiency and minimal understanding of the healthcare system, became unwitting participants in what prosecutors describe as assembly line medicine. Court filings detail a pattern of conduct that appears shockingly systematic. Patients would be funneled through a network of clinics and diagnostic centers, each visit meticulously documented to maximize insurance payouts. The lawsuit alleges that many received arthroscopic surgeries and other invasive procedures that were medically unnecessary, performed not to heal but to bill. Internal communications obtained during the investigation reportedly show staff members referring to these operations as cash cows, with some allegedly joking about how quickly they could process patients through the operating room. The financial engineering behind the scheme was equally sophisticated. Prosecutors claim that Hostin utilized a complex web of shell companies and consulting agreements to launder kickbacks and disguise excessive billing. One particularly damning allegation involves the use of patient brokering networks, middlemen who allegedly received substantial commissions for steering accident victims toward Hostin's facilities. These brokers, according to investigators, operated out of local community centers and ethnic enclaves, preying on vulnerable populations who trusted their recommendations. What makes this case particularly egregious is its scale and duration. The complaint spans nearly 700 pages, detailing instances dating back over a decade. Investigators estimate that thousands of patients pass through this alleged fraudulent network, each contributing to what authorities describe as a systematic looting of the insurance system. The damages sought by prosecutors reflect this staggering scope: hundreds of millions in restitution, trebled under RICO statutes to create potential liabilities that could bankrupt even the wealthiest defendants. Perhaps most disturbing are the human costs hidden behind the numbers. Medical experts consulted by investigators have expressed concern about the long-term health implications for patients subjected to unnecessary procedures. Some former patients have come forward with stories of complications and lingering pain from surgeries they never needed, while others describe feeling pressured into treatments they didn't understand. These accounts add a deeply personal dimension to what might otherwise seem like abstract financial crimes, transforming the case from mere fraud into something approaching medical malpractice on an industrial scale. To fully grasp the gravity of the legal storm engulfing Emmanuel Hostin, one must understand the formidable weapon being wielded against him. The racketeer-influenced and corrupt organizations, RICO Act. Originally crafted in 1970 to dismantle organized crime syndicates, this powerful legal tool has evolved into a prosecutor's dream weapon, capable of bringing down even the most sophisticated criminal enterprises. In Hostin's case, the invocation of RICO charges represents a seismic shift in how authorities view and prosecute white-collar crime, elevating what might have been treated as isolated incidents of insurance fraud into a comprehensive assault on systemic corruption. The RICO statute operates on a deceptively simple premise. Rather than prosecuting individual acts of wrongdoing, it allows authorities to target the entire enterprise engaged in a pattern of criminal activity. In Hostin's case, this means that every unnecessary surgery, every inflated insurance claim, and every disguised kickback becomes part of a larger narrative of organized criminal behavior. The implications are staggering. Under RICO provisions, each instance of alleged fraud doesn't stand alone, but contributes to a cumulative case that can span years and involve multiple defendants. This creates what legal experts call a domino effect, where the strength of the prosecution's case grows exponentially with each additional charge. What makes the RICO application in this case particularly devastating is its unprecedented scale within New York State's legal history. Prosecutors aren't merely alleging isolated instances of insurance fraud. They're painting a picture of a vast criminal enterprise that operated with military precision. The complaint details a sophisticated network of complicit medical professionals, administrators, and support staff, all allegedly working in concert to defraud insurance companies. This systematic approach triggers RICO's most potent feature: the ability to seek triple damages for each proven instance of wrongdoing. When applied to a scheme allegedly worth hundreds of millions, the potential financial consequences become astronomical. The strategic brilliance of using RICO in this context extends beyond mere financial penalties. By framing the alleged activities as part of an ongoing criminal enterprise, prosecutors gain several crucial advantages. First, they can introduce evidence that might otherwise be excluded as hearsay or irrelevant: business records, internal communications, and witness testimonies that collectively build a comprehensive picture of organized criminal activity. Second, the RICO framework allows for the consolidation of multiple defendants into a single trial, creating pressure points that often lead to plea deals and cooperation agreements. Already, court documents indicate that several co-defendants have begun flipping, providing testimony that could prove catastrophic for Hostin's defense. Perhaps most significantly, the RICO charges fundamentally alter the burden of proof required to secure a conviction. Rather than proving specific intent for each individual act of fraud, prosecutors need only demonstrate a pattern of criminal behavior connected to the enterprise. This lower evidentiary threshold explains why legal analysts consider RICO indictments particularly dangerous for white-collar defendants. What might seem like isolated business decisions suddenly take on sinister implications when viewed through the lens of organized criminal activity. The collateral damage from a RICO conviction extends far beyond prison sentences and fines. Convicted individuals face automatic forfeiture of assets deemed proceeds of criminal activity, potentially stripping them of their entire accumulated wealth. Professional licenses are automatically revoked, career-ending sanctions that make rehabilitation nearly impossible. For someone like Hostin, whose reputation and livelihood depend entirely on maintaining professional credentials, these consequences represent an existential threat that goes far beyond mere financial ruin. As the legal proceedings against Emmanuel Hostin intensified, insiders report that the foundation of his marriage to Sunny began showing unmistakable cracks. Multiple sources close to the couple describe a relationship transformed from partnership to barely contained hostility, with tensions reaching a boiling point as Emmanuel allegedly realized his options for escaping the legal quagmire were rapidly diminishing. According to confidants, Emmanuel has privately expressed feelings of profound betrayal, accusing Sunny of prioritizing her career and public image over standing by her husband during his darkest hour. The alleged bitterness between the couple manifests in starkly different public approaches to the crisis. While Sunny continues to project defiance and strength on national television, Emmanuel's reported actions suggest a man willing to sacrifice everything, including his marriage, to mitigate his legal exposure. Sources familiar with the negotiations claim that Emmanuel's decision to cooperate with federal authorities wasn't made lightly, but rather emerged from a growing resentment toward what he perceives as Sunny's emotional withdrawal and lack of support. This perceived abandonment reportedly reached a tipping point when Emmanuel learned of rumors suggesting Sunny might be cultivating new romantic interests amid the chaos. Behind closed doors, the couple's interactions have allegedly devolved into bitter recriminations. Friends recount heated arguments where Emmanuel accused Sunny of using their marriage as a prop for her public persona, while failing to provide genuine emotional support. These accusations appear to have struck a nerve, with Sunny reportedly responding that Emmanuel's alleged crimes had placed her in an impossible position, forcing her to choose between loyalty to her husband and protecting her own career and reputation. The resulting tension has reportedly created an atmosphere of mutual distrust, with both parties allegedly monitoring each other's communications and movements. Perhaps most damaging are the whispers about Emmanuel's motivations for cooperating with authorities. While US law prevents him from directly testifying against his wife, sources close to the investigation suggest he's found ways to implicate Sunny indirectly, allegedly providing information that could support charges of conspiracy or accessory after the fact. This calculated move has sent shockwaves through their social circle, with some friends describing it as a final act of vengeance against a spouse who, in his eyes, failed to stand by him when he needed her most. The psychological toll of this alleged betrayal appears evident in Sunny's increasingly defensive public statements, which some observers interpret as attempts to preempt potential revelations from her husband's cooperation agreement. The couple's deteriorating relationship has reportedly affected their daily lives in profound ways. Once shared responsibilities have become battlegrounds, with sources describing a household divided by suspicion and resentment. Social engagements have dwindled as both Sunny and Emmanuel reportedly struggle to maintain appearances while navigating their private turmoil. Even their professional lives have become entangled in their marital strife, with Emmanuel allegedly expressing frustration over what he perceives as Sunny's willingness to sacrifice their marriage to protect her career on The View. This toxic dynamic has created what some insiders describe as a perfect storm of personal and professional crises, threatening to consume both partners unless they can find a way to navigate their differences before the legal proceedings reach their inevitable conclusion. The unfolding drama surrounding Sunny Hostin presents a paradox that cuts to the core of her public identity. For years, she has positioned herself as America's moral compass on The View, delivering scathing critiques of systemic failures, corporate greed, and institutional corruption. Her monologues often centered on themes of accountability and transparency, demanding that those in power answer for their actions. Yet now, faced with allegations that strike at the heart of these very principles, Sunny finds herself struggling to maintain the high ground she once so confidently occupied. This cognitive dissonance becomes particularly striking when examining Sunny's past commentary on similar cases. During numerous segments on The View, she passionately argued for harsh penalties against white-collar criminals, emphasizing the importance of holding elites accountable regardless of their social status. She frequently criticized what she termed entitlement culture among the wealthy and powerful, advocating for stronger regulatory oversight and more aggressive prosecution of financial crimes. These positions, once delivered with unwavering conviction, now echo back with uncomfortable resonance as she navigates her own legal challenges. The irony deepens when considering Sunny's role as a self-appointed guardian of truth in media. Her frequent lectures about journalistic integrity and responsible reporting now contrast sharply with the defamation lawsuits she faces from public figures who claim she crossed ethical boundaries. The same platform she used to demand accountability from others has become the source of allegations against her, creating what some media analysts describe as a perfect rhetorical trap. Each legal challenge forces her to defend actions that, under different circumstances, she might have condemned with characteristic fervor. Perhaps most revealing is how this situation exposes the selective nature of Sunny's moral outrage. Critics point to numerous instances where she demanded absolute transparency from others, while maintaining a carefully controlled public image herself. Her past insistence that public figures should be held to higher standards of conduct now serves as an unforgiving mirror, reflecting back the very scrutiny she once advocated. This reversal of roles has led some observers to question whether her previous positions were genuinely principled or merely convenient platforms for advancing her career. The personal-professional conflict reaches its zenith in how Sunny addresses her husband's alleged crimes. Known for her sharp legal analysis and uncompromising stance on criminal responsibility, she now finds herself in the position of defending someone accused of precisely the type of systematic fraud she once condemned. This dilemma forces her to either abandon her established principles or risk appearing hypocritical by maintaining her public positions while dealing with private realities. The tension between these competing imperatives has created what media experts describe as an impossible tightrope walk, where every statement carries the potential for unintended consequences. As the legal proceedings unfold, this dichotomy between Sunny's public persona and private reality has become increasingly difficult to reconcile. Her attempts to maintain consistency between her past positions and current circumstances often appear strained, leading some viewers to question the authenticity of her previous advocacy. This erosion of credibility poses perhaps the greatest threat to her career, as it undermines the very foundation upon which she built her reputation as a trusted voice in American media. While the RICO case against Emmanuel Hostin dominates headlines, Sunny Hostin faces a separate yet equally formidable array of legal challenges that threaten to further destabilize her career and reputation. Chief among these is the high-profile defamation lawsuit filed by Senator John Fetterman, which emerged from a particularly contentious exchange on The View. During a heated segment discussing Pennsylvania politics, Sunny allegedly made remarks that Fetterman's legal team claims crossed the line from robust debate into actionable libel. The senator's lawsuit isn't merely targeting Sunny personally, but also names the show's producers, arguing they failed to exercise proper editorial oversight during the broadcast. The ramifications of the Fetterman case extend far beyond potential financial damages. By naming the show's producers as co-defendants, the lawsuit raises fundamental questions about the responsibilities of media platforms in moderating content. Legal experts suggest this strategy could set a precedent for how talk shows handle controversial statements, potentially leading to increased censorship and stricter controls on host commentary. The case has already sparked discussions within ABC's executive offices about implementing more rigorous editorial guidelines, with some insiders suggesting that The View's trademark unfiltered format might need significant modification to avoid future litigation. Adding another layer of complexity is the rumored legal action from Melania Trump, which stems from comments Sunny allegedly made about the former First Lady's personal life. While details remain speculative due to non-disclosure agreements, sources indicate the complaint focuses on statements that the Trump legal team considers particularly damaging to Melania's reputation. What makes this potential lawsuit especially perilous is its timing, coming as it does amidst the broader media scrutiny surrounding the Hostin family. Observers note that the Trump organization has historically used legal actions as strategic tools to influence media coverage, raising concerns that this case might serve dual purposes of seeking damages while simultaneously attempting to reshape how networks handle coverage of the Trump family. These legal challenges have triggered a chain reaction throughout Sunny's professional ecosystem. ABC executives, already grappling with declining ratings and advertiser concerns, are reportedly growing increasingly anxious about the negative publicity surrounding their star co-host. Internal memos obtained by industry insiders reveal discussions about risk mitigation strategies, including proposals for temporary leaves of absence or reduced airtime for Sunny. Some network personnel have even suggested bringing in legal consultants to monitor live broadcasts, a move that could fundamentally alter the View's spontaneous format. The cumulative effect of these legal battles has created what media analysts describe as a perfect storm for Sunny's career trajectory. Each lawsuit adds another layer of complexity to an already precarious situation, creating overlapping areas of legal exposure that require careful navigation. The financial implications alone are staggering. Potential damages from multiple cases could reach tens of millions, separate from the astronomical sums involved in the RICO case. More concerning, however, are the reputational risks. As these legal proceedings progress, they're likely to generate sustained negative media coverage that could erode viewer trust and alienate advertisers, potentially making Sunny's position on The View untenable, regardless of the outcomes. Perhaps most significantly, these various legal challenges intersect in ways that multiply their impact. For instance, discovery processes in the defamation cases could inadvertently expose information relevant to the RICO investigation, creating cross-contamination between what were initially separate legal matters. This interconnectedness has led Sunny's legal team to adopt an increasingly defensive posture, limiting her public appearances and carefully scripting her remaining media interactions. The result is a professional environment where every word carries potential legal consequences, effectively muzzling one of daytime television's most outspoken voices. The cascading legal challenges facing Sunny Hostin transcend personal consequences, sending shockwaves through the media landscape that could redefine industry standards and practices. Network executives across major media organizations are watching developments closely, recognizing that the outcome of these cases could establish new precedents for acceptable discourse in broadcast journalism. Already, preliminary discussions among industry leaders suggest a potential shift toward more conservative programming approaches, with several networks reportedly revisiting their editorial policies to incorporate hosting clauses, explicit guidelines designed to prevent similar legal exposures. The advertising community has responded with equal apprehension, with major sponsors expressing concerns about association with controversial programming. Advertising executives have noted a measurable decline in premium ad rates for opinion-driven formats, as brands grow increasingly wary of being caught in the crossfire of high-profile legal battles. This economic pressure has led to what some industry insiders term the sanitization of spontaneity, where networks prioritize safe content over provocative discussion, potentially stifling the very debates that once defined successful talk shows. Legal departments across media organizations have become ground zero for policy reform efforts. Law firms specializing in media liability report a surge in consultations from networks seeking to bulletproof their operations against similar vulnerabilities. These efforts have resulted in the emergence of new contractual frameworks for talent agreements, incorporating unprecedented levels of indemnification clauses and behavioral restrictions. Some networks have even begun exploring the implementation of real-time legal monitoring systems during live broadcasts, employing teams of attorneys to instantly flag potentially problematic statements. The impact extends beyond operational changes to affect the very nature of media discourse. Veteran broadcasters observe a noticeable chilling effect among hosts and commentators, who now self-censor more aggressively to avoid legal entanglements. This self-regulation manifests in various ways, from avoiding certain topics altogether to adopting more measured language when discussing sensitive subjects. The result is a gradual homogenization of viewpoints, as hosts gravitate towards safer, less controversial territory to minimize legal risks. Perhaps most concerning is the effect on emerging talent within the industry. Young journalists and commentators, witnessing the multifaceted legal challenges confronting established figures like Sunny Hostin, are reportedly adopting more cautious career trajectories. Industry recruiters note a marked increase in candidates seeking specialized media law training and pursuing additional liability insurance coverage before accepting prominent positions. This risk-averse approach among new talent threatens to stifle the fresh perspectives and bold commentary that traditionally drive innovation in media programming. Media scholars argue that these developments represent a fundamental shift in the balance between free speech and legal accountability in broadcasting. The convergence of multiple high-stakes legal challenges against a single prominent figure has accelerated trends toward greater caution and control in media production. As networks grapple with these changes, the question emerges: will the industry find a way to preserve meaningful discourse while managing legal risks, or will the legacy of this ordeal be a permanently muted media landscape? As the legal proceedings against Sunny Hostin and her husband Emmanuel enter their critical phases, the media landscape waits with bated breath to see how this high-stakes drama will resolve. With multiple lawsuits pending, a crumbling marriage, and her professional reputation hanging in the balance, Sunny faces choices that will irrevocably shape her legacy. The coming months promise to deliver pivotal moments that could either vindicate her or confirm her critics' harshest assessments. Will she emerge from this crucible as a testament to resilience and redemption, or will she become a cautionary tale about the perils of mixing personal relationships with professional ambition? The resolution of these cases carries implications far beyond Sunny's personal fate. They stand to redefine the boundaries of accountability in media, set new standards for public figure conduct, and potentially reshape how networks manage risk in programming. As evidence continues to emerge and legal strategies unfold, the truth about Sunny's involvement, or lack thereof, in her husband's alleged schemes will gradually come to light. This process will likely reveal not just facts about specific events, but deeper insights into the complex interplay between personal relationships, professional responsibilities, and public personas in the modern media age. Regardless of the ultimate verdicts, the Sunny Hostin saga has already left an indelible mark on American media. It has exposed vulnerabilities in how we evaluate public figures, challenged our assumptions about accountability, and forced a reckoning with the consequences of unchecked commentary in the public sphere. As the story continues to unfold, it serves as a stark reminder that in the world of media and celebrity, the line between victim and perpetrator can be as much a matter of perspective as it is of fact. The only certainty is that whatever outcome emerges, it will fundamentally alter the landscape of daytime television and public discourse for years to come.